Hello everyone, welcome back to Tech WideRock Academy. Today we are diving into the Linux shell, the command line interface that gives us complete control of the Linux OS. Here we will explore how the shell works, from interpreting user commands to interacting with hardware. So let's get started. First we will see what is Linux shell. Linux shell is a powerful and flexible command line interface that allows users to interact directly with the operating system by executing commands, running scripts, and managing files and processes. In addition to this, it serves as a bridge between the user and the kernel, enables automation, system administration, programming, and network management without a graphical user interface. And the popular shells are bash, which is born again shell, zsh, which is z shell, fish, which is friendly interactive shell, ksh, which is corn shell, tcsh, 10x c shell, dash, debian armquist shell, and ash, which is armquist shell. Next we will see how the flow goes from user to the shell to the kernel and to the hardware. So here's the breakdown. So first, the user interacts with the computer by typing commands or running scripts in the terminal. Then the shell interprets these commands and translates these instructions into actions understandable by the kernel. The shell also handles tasks like file navigation, process management, and system configuration based on user commands. Here, when a user types a command like ls, which is used to list the contents of directory, the shell calls system functions like open, read, or write in the form of system calls that the kernel understands. And here, the commands are wrapped in a standardized API format and then passed to the kernel. As you know, that the kernel is the core of the operating system that manages system resources and acting as a bridge between the software and hardware. It determines how to execute these commands by allocating resources like CPU time, memory, and access to peripheral devices. After receiving instructions from the shell to execute the ls command and read the list of contents from a disk, the kernel uses the IO scheduler to send the appropriate instructions to the disk driver, which then communicates with the disk controller to manage data retrieval at the hardware level. As here, the commands are issued to the hardware as low-level binary instructions. Finally, the kernel communicates directly with the hardware to complete the requested tasks. Means the hardware executes the requested operation based on requested instructions. For instance, if a user command requires writing data to disk, the kernel sends appropriate signals to the storage hardware. The kernel's role as a middle layer is crucial. It abstracts the hardware complexities, allowing both the shell and applications to run commands without needing direct hardware control. And then hardware returns raw data in binary format to the kernel. And then kernel uses device drivers and input scheduler to interpret the binary data into the structured format. And then the kernel sends the data to the shell in a standardized API format. The shell takes the structured data from the kernel and formats it for display in the terminal. Finally, the terminal renders the formatted text as characters and symbols visible to the user on the screen. So that's how the shell works. So thank you so much guys.